Hey everyone, I'm Connor, an iOS developer, and I'm going to be walking you through going from idea to app in just 14 days, showing you all the AI tools and processes that I use to build AI apps in just 14 days. In this video, we're going to be talking about finding an app idea, validating that app idea, and how we use AI throughout this whole process to know what is worth building. Today, we're not focusing on any coding. We're just focusing on finding a winning idea that we're going to be motivated to build over the course of the next 14 days, and an idea that's worth building that can potentially make us some money on the App Store. So I have a 5-step process in which I do this with. So we are going to start with listing 10 problems, then going to brainstorming with AI, analyzing trends and potential. We're going to mine for feedback and reviews of similar apps, and then we're going to validate quickly before we move on to building tomorrow. So starting with listing 10 problems, the reason for this first step is because it's really helpful to be a user of your own app. We want to list 10 problems that you have in your day-to-day life that could be potentially solved by an app. Later, we're going to validate those ideas with AI, kind of coming up with ideas, analyzing competition, finding unique spins that we can put on this app, and how we can keep it simple and in scope so that we can actually successfully build this in 14 days. So what you'll do for this step is spend 10, 20 minutes writing down 10 problems that you face in your day-to-day life that you believe could be solved by an app. So I've listed 10 problems in my life so I could improve with an app, or just some things that I would like to do better or focus more on. And I'll walk you through these really quickly. So one is I would like a better workout routine. I want to be more in shape. I want to be more consistent in the gym. 2, eat better, along with the fitness thing, more calories. For me, I'm trying to bulk. And so an improved diet could help me with that. And maybe there's an app idea there. 3, journaling. I hear a lot about the power of journaling and how helpful that can be just overall. And, I'm not someone that journals regularly. And I definitely don't like using pen and paper that often. And so maybe a journaling app would be useful to me. Meditation kind of run in that same category of mental health and just self-improvement. Finding a meditation routine could be really useful. Another one is keeping up with friends. If you're anything like me, I am terrible at responding to text messages. I probably have over 50 to 100 messages that I've just not responded to. Not because I don't want to, just I'm busy and I forget. And so that's something that maybe an app can help me with. 6 is maybe I could afford to sleep better. Sometimes you get really busy and you don't get as much sleep as you would like, or your sleep is not as good as it could be. So maybe we can build an app that could help us with a sleep routine. 7, improve mental health. Being an indie developer, you're often building solo and kind of just working long hours inside behind a desk. There are mental health challenges there with just being isolated. And so maybe we can do something there. 8, be more creative. I wish I was more creative in my work, with my designs, with, my spin and uniqueness to things. Maybe an app can help me be more creative. 9, plan better. I keep a mental to-do list of all the things that I have to do. I'm not very good at writing that down on paper or in notes or anything. And so maybe an app can help me be more organized and plan better outside of just your typical calendar. Be more focused. If you're anything like me as well, it's really easy to get distracted. I find when I'm waiting for my app to build or something to load or waiting for AI to respond, I'll fall in the trap of going onto my phone and spending way too long on Twitter or something like that, maybe playing a game. So it'd be really nice if an app could help me to be more focused. So these are 10 potential ideas that you could build if you're having a hard time coming up with something. But this is a really good starting point of, okay, these are all pain points and apps that I would potentially use if they existed. So what we're going to do now is take these and put them into AI and to help us, form them into app ideas and see which ones might be worth building compared to others. So since that is step 2, brainstorm with AI, I have copied that list of ideas and I'm going to be using Perplexity for this video. Perplexity is an AI tool that uses all of the latest AI models in combination with a really great web search and research. So I like to use it for this step because I feel like not only does it have the power of AI, but it also has the power of real-time trends and things that are happening on the internet recently that AI may not be currently trained on. Alternative options to that would be Grok is really good for that as well. Or ChatGPT and Claude both have deep research features. I typically don't use these as frequently because I find they just take longer to research. Like Claude will spend close to 20 minutes researching something. And then you've got this long research paper to read, which is not quite as helpful as, chatting with the results, like kind of in real time. I'll be using Perplexity. This is Perplexity here. This is kind of how it works. It's just typical search. They've got all the different features. You can do different sources. They have just typical search mode. I'm going to be using research mode for this. And then they also have labs. But let's use research mode because it just searches a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth. And I found to be the most helpful for something like this. Okay, so the prompt that we're going to use for this is as follows. I am looking to build a new app and I want help coming up with ideas. As a starting point, I've listed 10 problems or things I'd like to prove in my day-to-day life that can serve as starting points for the ideas. And I have my list, and then I give it instructions. I said, I want you to research current trends and solutions for these and identify 5 unique app ideas that could solve one or a combination of these pain points I've listed. So now it's going to go out and perform that research. Okay, so after about 5 minutes, Perplexity has come back with 5 unique app ideas based on current market trends for solutions to these pain points. So I'll walk you through them really quickly, and then we'll kind of go from there. So the first one is an app called Rhythm, an AI-powered holistic life sync app, where it addresses multiple of these pain points, and then it identifies a gap in the market for something like this. It gives me a list of key features for this app. The next one is Anchor, a social accountability and friend connection platform that also addresses multiple pain points. Third one is Flow State, so context-aware focus and creativity amplifier. That sounds really cool and fun to build. Energy-based scheduling, creative breakdown sessions. The next is Mindful Bites, AI-powered intuitive eating coach. That's interesting, but honestly, at first impression, it feels a little complicated for the scope of a 14-day project. And then 5 is Ritual Intelligent Daily Structure Builder. So I like that what it did here is really lean into solving multiple of these pain points, which I think is really cool. And if you're going to spend longer than 14 days building an app, I think these are really great. But what I would do next is prompt it and say, these are really great, but I think we need something more focused. Let's focus on solving a pain point that you feel most passionate or excited about to solve. For me, that's going to be journaling. I really want to get into journaling, and I think that sounds like a really exciting idea. So I'm going to ask it to help me come up with a unique idea there. So we'll prompt it to follow up. And I said, these are really great, but I want my app to be simple. Let's focus on the pain point of journaling and mental health. Can you help research and help me find a unique angle on a mental health journaling app? So I'm going to perform this research, and you'll see that it's going to take a few minutes. But at this point, AI is really great for suggesting ideas and guiding you, but don't be afraid to follow your intuition as well, because the remaining steps are going to apply to an idea that you have created out of your intuition or just what you're feeling most compelled to do. And they're going to work just as well, because we're going to validate that idea a little bit in just a moment. But for example, I wanted to do this mental health journaling angle because it sounds interesting to me. Sounds potentially fun to build, and it's a space I'm curious about. Hopeful that I will learn more about journaling and mental health as I'm building out this app to find a good solution. So don't be afraid to use this as a source of inspiration, but you don't have to listen to what it says. It's just a really good creative blocker if you genuinely are having a hard time coming up with ideas, finding pain points to solve. If you have a great idea, then just start there and ask Perplexity to do some research for you based on that idea, and ask to help pivot and ways to make this more successful, because not all apps are going to be winners. But a good rule of thumb is if it's a pain point for you, there's a really high chance it's a pain point for somebody else. So it's definitely an idea worth exploring. Now, Perplexity is done researching the mental health journal app idea, and it found a unique angle for us to approach when building this app. So it gives us some key pain points based on some data that it found, user pain points with existing solutions. And this is the golden part right here. Your unique opportunity is a voice-first micro journaling. Based on the research, here's a simple but unique angle that addresses multiple pain points. Current journaling apps require too much time and cognitive load. Audio journaling is growing rapidly, but current apps are either too complex or lack intelligence. Your solution is a voice-first app that captures mental health moments in 30-second audio clips with intelligent private analysis. And then it gave us some key features. So this feels really good. This feels really exciting. Ultra quick voice capture, intelligent voice patterns, smart gentle nudges, memory echo, surface old voice clips when you're in similar emotional states. Awesome. This sounds exciting and really fun. It's giving us some monetization strategies. It's getting ahead of our plan a little bit, which is cool to see. Now we've got an idea to pull on. The next step is going to be analyzing trends and potential for this app, which has partially done that for us already, but we're going to have a follow-up prompt to cover steps 3 and 4, 4 also being mining feedback and reviews. So I'm going to go to Perplexity and add a new prompt in to follow up on this idea. Okay, so the follow-up prompt is going to be as follows. Can you conduct research to analyze the competitive landscape for an app like this one? What are relevant trends around this idea for marketing and feature ideas? What earning potential does an app like this have over the next 6 to 12 months? And then what are users complaining about for similar solutions? So we've kind of wrapped steps 3 and 4 together because it's already solved step 3 for us in a lot of ways. But now I'm going to dig a little bit deeper so I have a better understanding of the landscape that I'm getting into when building this app. What features should I focus on first? Because a later step in our plan is going to be to decide on a minimum viable product or an MVP for the project. What features are the most crucial solving these pain points that we can ship realistically in 2 weeks? You know, the first version of your app is not going to be perfect and it's not going to be the final version. What we're looking for is just to validate an idea and see, is someone going to pay for this solution, and kind of go from there. So let's see what Perplexity has to say about these things, and then we'll go on to step 5. One thing you can do while you're waiting for Perplexity to conduct its research is go to the App Store. I'm going to show the Mac App Store just for simplicity's sake, but I would go to the iPhone App Store as we're going to be building an iPhone app and the results are going to be different. But what you're going to want to do is research competitors. So I searched Mental Health Journal and I want to see what apps are popping up. So what does my competition look like? And get ideas for this. This would be really helpful later when we're designing and planning features more in depth. But the main thing here that we really want to do is look at ratings and reviews. So we want to see all of them, and then we want to sort by most critical. So there's going to be a number of errors and issues with current solutions, even the popular solutions that are earning quite a bit. And this is where our potential is for our app as well. People are angry about the free tier. Maybe there's bugs in the app. I would get pen and paper, notes or whatever, and make a list of all the things people are complaining about and find where you can kind of solve these problems for users. Identify other apps, other competitors. What are their views of, this one's saying, let's sort by most critical. Free version of ChatGPT is better than this, which is, I think it's really cool the developers respond to these. That's something that you should do as well when you have your app released, but that's for a later video. But yeah, look at these negative reviews and find the pain points and see where you can capture some unique opportunity that even the most popular solutions are not currently solving. So Perplexity is just finishing our research, and we're going to kind of go over the results. So direct competitors are something like Audio Diary, give us a direct list of weaknesses, subscription fatigue, complex interface. Rosebud seems to be doing good, but it's expensive. Or traditional text, Day One is a very popular one. And that is going to give us some market gap, which I think is really helpful. So AI journaling apps are too feature heavy that people want them simple. Most apps like cross-platform functionality. Android versions are inferior to iOS, which isn't super relevant to us. We're not going to be building an Android app. Time burden issues, too much time required to enter data, which is solved by our voice first option, the voice first revolution, or to market trends. Let's see, privacy first, which is good, mental health integration, and micro moment journaling. So awesome. We've got a really good idea that this is probably an app worth building, right? There's opportunity to solve pain points here. The apps in the space are making a lot of money, so it's already a validated niche, which is really great. People are paying for solutions in this space. And then it says we can probably grow to about 2K MRR within the first couple of months, which is exciting to see. I always take these MRR goals from AI with a grain of salt. They're not necessarily always accurate and have a lot of varying conditions to get there, but it is promising nonetheless. Major user complaints. Okay, so we've got a lot of information here, more than we probably even know what to do with. This is a really great reason why Perplexity is so nice. Like, this would have taken you hours to go and find on your own, and we've done it in a matter of only a few minutes so far. So the next step after we've done all that is we're going to validate quickly. So you've got a good idea of validation for the app here based on our Perplexity research. The next thing, you have a few options of what to do next. I'm going to show you the keyword research that we're going to do for this particularly, but other great trends are to look on Google Trends and see if people are searching for these solutions, and if things are trending up, that's a good indicator. Look on TikTok, what are people saying about mental health apps and mental health and journaling in general, and what are the viral trends and things doing there. But for today's purposes, we're going to go into Astro. And if you're not familiar with Astro, Astro is an app store optimization tool helping you with keywords research to see where your app is ranking and how it's performing in the App Store. So for example, my app Sparka, these are some of the keywords that we're using for Sparka. And you can see we're only ranking for one of them, which is Learn AI Prompting. We're ranking 27, which is really great. You can see we have a lot of difficult keywords, meaning there's high competition there. And then lower popularity keywords mean not a ton of people are searching for the keywords that we're using. So there's optimization opportunities here. But what this means for our mental health journal app is that we're going to identify keywords to see what the popularity looks like for a solution like this. Okay, so I've gone ahead and asked Perplexity for a list of 10 keywords that could help our app idea perform well in the App Store. And it's given me a list and some information of why these would be good keywords or why maybe to not use some of them. And I've gone and entered them into Astro. So I'm going to kind of identify what might be most helpful here. So I've come up with some of my own as well, and we are going to kind of just get an idea for these keywords. The one I liked best was AI journal, right? And this is a thread we should pull on. It's, decently high popularity, but relatively low difficulty in comparison. So this is a keyword we could probably rank for pretty decently. Maybe we name our app Whisper AI Journal, something like that. So there's opportunity here, decent popularity keywords, difficult, but not impossible. So you can spend more time researching in this phase, but for the purposes of this video, it gives us a good enough idea that people are searching for a solution like this. And you can also further, if you wanted to, look for the keywords competition. So read the reviews of all these apps, see how they're doing, see where you can come in and improve on them and kind of go from there. So, okay, we have got our app idea. We have got our app Whisper. We have validated it. We have gone through all the steps to get a really good understanding of the market and different opportunities we have for features and things like that. So for over the next 13 days, we're going to be building Whisper. Maybe the name will change, but we're going to be building Whisper, our AI journaling app. The core feature is a 30-second voice journaling app with some AI features. Tomorrow, we're going to be going through scoping this down to MVP, what's possible to build in 14 days, and how are we going to approach this, and how are we going to prioritize features to build first versus ones that, will come in a later version. So that is day one, finding an app idea and everything that I do to research and find winning app ideas. One pro tip I will add is I keep a running list in my phone of app ideas. I find that they come to me all the time. I don't spend all this time researching them unless I have time to build them, but I've got a running list of app ideas in my phone, and I find it really helpful to always be writing those down for a few reasons. One is because it helps keep you focused. So if I'm already building an app, I don't want to start another one in the middle of that. And so if I write it down, then it's kind of out of my mind and I can come back to it later. Two is when I'm ready to build another idea, I find when I'm in the ideation phase, you kind of get writer's block. So it's good to have a list to go back to. So always be writing these ideas down. And I think that's a really good way to build the flywheel of apps that you can keep on building. So once you do this process once, you're going to be able to do it over and over again. If you want the exact prompts and workflows that I use in more detail, you can check out my community App Launch Club, where I help anyone build an app with AI and get it out the door in just 14 days. I believe in the philosophy that AI can get you 80, 90% of the way there, But when it comes to building a native iOS app, it is still challenging. There's still things that AI just can't quite get right. And me, with my 5 years of iOS development experience, I come in and help you one-on-one get your app idea out the door. We've got a whole app launch roadmap going from idea to app in 14 days. So if you're interested, feel free to check that out. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.